Welcome, welcome, welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our customers and the community at large. Today, we have a UpKeep customer of several years. We have Jim Wilkie, who is the Fleet and Facilities Director for Link Associates. Jim, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be on.
Awesome, awesome. We're so glad to have you. Our good friend Maria, who also works for UpKeep, got us connected and said, we know an awesome dude who's leading up an amazing team over at Link Associates, and he wanted to come on the podcast and talk UpKeep. And we were like, yes, 100%. So Jim, before we get into kind of some questions I have for you surrounding UpKeep and all those types of things, can you give us some insight into your background? Where'd you come from? Who is Jim? How'd you get involved with maintenance and facilities and reliability and all those things?
Sure. Jim Wilkie, Link Associates. I've been with Link for 20 plus years. Before that, I worked for the City of Des Moines Park and Recreation Department. Before that, an SRA in Illinois. And with that, I always had my degree is in therapeutic recreation, so working with people with disabilities.
Cool.
And doing that, I got involved with the maintenance side of things. As for not-for-profit, so I had to keep things up and running. With Des Moines Park and Rec, I got into the pool maintenance, running the pools, the parks, the bike trail. So if it wasn't green, it was under my responsibility. Worked with Link Associates in programming between Des Moines Park and Rec and Link, and I did the Special Olympic sports. They did the therapeutic. Had
Cool.
hired on with Link, and started doing the transportation program and facilities. So that's pretty much my background with getting into maintenance.
Right. So you're handling the day-to-day acquisition, upkeep, and maintaining of all the, I guess, the facility side, the fleet side of equipment that moves all your patients and community around, all that type of stuff. And then for the parks and rec, that must have been cool. Did you guys have like heavy equipment, like stuff like that for like building trails and clearing land and maintaining all that property?
We did. Fortunately, we had heavy equipment operators that I didn't have to worry about. I had the playground responsibilities, maintaining those, the pools,
That's awesome.
bike trails. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't have to build it. I just had to maintain it once we got it.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. It's funny. We actually live my house here in Darlington in Maryland is my property actually backs up to Susquehanna State Park. And I run in that park all the time. And sometimes I see the Parks and Rec trail keepers out there and I know, and I'm like, God, like they're lugging all this stuff, chainsaws
Uh-huh.
and like all this stuff to clear trails when trees fall. And I'm just like, God, like I'm dying in the heat, like wearing just t-shirt and shorts running, and they're like decked out in like, logging gear and all this stuff. And every time I see them, I'm like, man, that's a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah. They worked their butts off.
Yeah, and I also do see a lot of times they have a significant amount of equipment, mostly like gators, golf carts, lots of saws,
Mhm.
lots of tree and site equipment, some skid steers, things like that. So
Yep.
I assume those things would have fallen under your umbrella as well.
Yep. Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I wanted to start talking a bit about upkeep. Um, and I guess my first question is this. Before you got involved with upkeep or selected upkeep in your past managing all those different types of facilities, locations, and different types of work, were you using any kind of computerized maintenance management software or fleet software or anything like that?
With Link Associates, we started using a company called Facility Dude. So use them as our maintenance software working for, usually it was twofold. It was tracking work orders, staying on top of things, but also for supplies requests to make sure we issued out the supplies that people wanted for all the homes that got charged to the proper accounts and inventory of items.
Right.
So use them. Reporting wise, they were good, but they were not the best. So started looking for another company and found UpKeep. And what really intrigued me about UpKeep was their willingness to work with me, because we are unique as a not-for-profit. So, you know, the software stuff is great for the vehicle maintenance and all that. But then I also needed something for supplies to
Sure.
track that. And you guys work with me to come up with a solution so I could still do supplies requests and maintain our inventory and stock and get that out to the homes for the people served that we support. But then also it was more robust when it comes to reporting and tracking for fleet maintenance.
Right.
And part of that also is working with you guys in Azuga, our telematics device, to get those two mirrored together. So oil changes are tracked now automatically through the Azuga device, telematics device. It's piping in a work order. Hey, we've got this issue. We got a work order for an oil change coming up because it hit the mileage that is due. Or it throws a diagnostic code. Azuga's throwing that diagnostic code over to UpKeep, and UpKeep's creating a work order so we get to the problem before it becomes a major problem.
Sure.
And then the reporting part as well.
Yeah.
That we can do. It's a lot more robust. It's a lot easier to track parts, inventory, work orders, and search for it than it was in facility do. So thrilled to be with UpKeep.
Yeah. So when you were doing the Parks and Rec stuff, did they have any type of system for tracking work or anything like that?
Excel spreadsheets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So no, yeah, didn't have it with. I didn't get it with Park and Rec. It was always with Link Associates when I started getting to.
It's cool that you talk about telematics. I have a lot of experience with Cat Vision Link and like Komatsu Comtrax and a lot of telematics software. I managed almost or seven locations, several hundred pieces of equipment through Cat Vision Link. I used to put it on non-Cat equipment too for hours and location to then build my condition-based services around all of those things. It is a game changer. Fleet management with telematics. If you do your, fluid analysis and your fuel consumption and your component change outs and your code generation, you can the amount of money that you can reduce and cost and all that stuff is just wild. And it's awesome that you're pushing that data into UpKeep, so you're able to create symbiosis between those two systems, which is awesome. That's super paramount, right? And it allows you to get ahead tremendously. So a big thing for you was analytics, and we hear that a lot. Actually, there's a lot of good softwares out there that offer mobile first, very easy to use. But we find two things generally. Analytics are not scalable, meaning they're not robust. They can't grow with the business. So when you first get to CMMS, you're paying attention to very basic metrics, right? And then as you start to grow scale, you get the adoption within the organization. You start to generate some value. You start to want to poke into other things. And a lot of those systems can't go to those other things. And the second thing is support. We at UpKeep have CMRPs on staff through sales, our CEO, marketing, engineering. All these people are familiar with the maintenance process. And we find a lot that some of our competitors, they're just salesmen. And they are basing everything off of, I know what maintenance is. You guys fix things. Like, well, it's not really that easy to say, right?
Not that simple.
That's not that simple, right? So having people on the team who are competent in understanding the individual context of your maintenance business has proven to be very, very valuable for our customers and for us, right? Because the more we help our customers, we're learning too.
Yeah.
Because all the businesses are so unique in the way that they want to track things and manage things and their structure and all that type of stuff. So that's awesome. And I'm super glad to hear telematics is a part of your maintenance strategy because it's top tier. I did it, and I know I actually did a webinar, like an hour and a half long webinar on telematics and CMMS integration and management for mobile fleets for UpKeep like 5 years ago. So my next question is this, Jim. You being the fleet and facilities director, you're overseeing a lot of things. You probably have your hands in a lot of different, holes and buckets and all these things. And the reason I wanted to ask this question is because when I think about the nonprofit space, we have a lot of nonprofit customers. Yours particularly is by you being in alignment with the needs of your business through maintenance, you're able to provide a better environment for your customer, which is an assisted person, a person with disabilities, someone who needs assistance, maybe elderly people, right? So I just think that's so awesome. And this is why I want to ask this question is like, how has UpKeep optimized or improved your current role?
Um, for me, it's improved the role by knowing the work that needs to be done and get it done quicker. Um, it's easier for the staff to put the work order in and take a picture and attach that to that work order, which has been a huge game changer because we have a lot of staff that are English as a second language. So writing or typing can be difficult
Right.
in the English language. They can take a picture, circle it, um, and we know exactly what we need as we're going out to work on what they put in.
Right.
So that part is the time savings there has just been fantastic. And then tracking and trending, we've done this 5 times, or this is a duplicate work order, and all that. So it's helped tremendously there with cost savings, let alone working with you guys to help create the reports or the work orders and the workflow charts where, it's emergency work order, non-emergency work order, a supply request, getting all those where that I can then can code it directly to the correct budget, which
Are you
saves a lot of time.
are you guys using like accounting general ledger codes like to be able to put
Yeah,
them into
yep, yeah,
buckets? Perfect.
we've got our whole accounting system codes into upkeep.
Perfect.
So staff are, if they select a code or whatever, they may code it wrong. I can change it, code it to the right thing, or my two maintenance guys can,
Right.
um, and do it that way. So I get a better picture at the end of the year, especially for budgeting,
Right.
um, and which saves a ton of time.
Right. Would you say I'm leaning on the first thing you said is, being able to quickly identify issues through the request portal or the work order function and then solve those problems quicker. Um, do you find that those or that process helps build more confidence between your customers and the organization?
I'm going to say, yeah, I think the biggest thing that we have is what I like about it is whoever puts that work order in, as soon as we touch it, put it in process or put it on hold, wait, takes a note for it. The email goes right back to them and they know the communication piece is invaluable.
Yes.
The only thing that I wish it could do more of is tie it out to the supervisors, not just the staff. So everybody associated with that home could get the same email. So they know everything. Hey, this staff put in this work order, everybody gets associated to it. Right now, the only thing I know we can do with UpKeep is the supervisor of the home should get the email, but I'd love for all the staff. Of course,
I would
I haven't brought that up yet to you guys because it just hit me.
I would I would
Talking
bring
about this.
I would bring that up because that may be something that is possible.
Yeah.
And also too, talking about some of your employees not being English first, we have several languages on the platform. So talk to your customer success representative, and they can help you out. And then those individuals can interact with the system in their language.
That's good. I did not know that. So I'll
Yeah,
definitely talk to Kansas on that one because
yeah,
Kansas would be a great help.
yeah. She's
Um,
amazing.
she
There's
has.
there's a whole bench of people at Upkeep. We call them upkeepers. That's what we call
Mhm.
ourselves. That go to great lengths and turn all the knobs and pull all the levers to see where and when and how we can provide more value. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to work here. I want to make sure that, I mean, I used Upkeep for, what, 7 years, right?
Mhm.
So it's just super cool and super valuable. Um,
Yeah, it's the first software company that really listens to its customers and helps find solutions within their program
right.
that I've ever found. And yeah, so I'm a big fan of Upkeep.
Well, we appreciate that, and we also know that our success is from our customers, right? And we have to have an ear to the ground in a sense to know where we should be directing the product, right? I mean, we have several customers, including yours, many that make recommendations to us based on their needs, and a lot of times we implement that change.
Yeah,
You know, it's just one of those things where it's like you're a business and you're successful and you're able to make a great product because of your customers, not because we think we know everything and we just are magic and make things out of thin air.
right. Yep.
You
No, and
know,
that's yeah, because your guys' willingness to learn and listen and develop and change is like I said, there's nobody else out there doing it as far as I know.
Yeah, 100%. So I wanted to ask, I know we talked a lot about upkeep, um, with some great examples, but like, I guess this question is like, at its core, why upkeep? I'm sure when you were going through the selection process, you looked at several companies, right? We all do our due diligence.
Mhm.
We look at,
Yep.
and there's a lot of products that are very good. There's a lot of products that are very bad. Um, what was it? What was the defining factor for upkeep that made your
For,
selection?
for me, it came down to the ability to track and trend and report on different issues, but how easy it was to search and track, you know, a home and what are work orders happen to that home or that piece of equipment versus having to go through several hoops for the other companies to get the same information.
Right.
So the search engine is so much better
Yeah,
than anywhere else that I've dealt with
that's awesome. And
and looked into.
you have a lot of places that you're managing too, right?
We have, let's see, besides our main building, 21 homes, 43 vehicles,
Yeah.
and then the supplies,
So
and 200 staff, 60.
are you, so for each home a parent asset and then you have child
Yep,
assets within
yep,
the home?
yep,
Perfect.
yes, yep,
And you're able to attribute manpower, resources, cost allocation to that parent or that child.
correct. Yep.
Right. And
So,
that's awesome. So you're able to say, hey, this home was is in this condition, but we've replaced this thing 4 or 5 times, right? Maybe it needs to be replaced or updated or a design change, or maybe we're getting, do you guys use like failure codes or corrective codes for like um water issue, electrical issue, appliance issue, stuff like that?
no, don't, no, it's tagged into our budget code. So it's going to
Oh,
be,
okay.
appliance will be equipment. Yeah, but no,
Gotcha.
haven't
So
used those.
right, but
Those.
you're doing it to a sense, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just not how you do it. Yeah. I mean, so we're tracking appliances or whatever, the year, the life expectancy, and that's what's nice.
perfect.
Because it keeps, because I can put the pictures in, put the serial numbers in, warranty. I can pull it up. Yeah, we purchased it here, and then I get a full history of, okay, you've done this much work to this appliance. Okay, wait a second. It's time to. It's
Yes,
5 years old, unfortunately. Oh, it's time to buy new because I'm buying a new one versus
correct. That's
even though
your that
they're
and
10
you can
years now.
well you can that's exactly what the RAV calculation in upkeep is, the replacement asset value, right? I've spent
Mhm.
this much money on this freaking thing. I could have bought two new ones by now. So
Yeah.
maybe I should stop doing so much maintenance and then just put it on an amortized, schedule
Yep.
to
Right.
replace it.
Yes. Yep.
And you can do that too. You can do the depreciation scheduling for your assets in there as
Right.
well. So you could look at
Yes.
three metrics that could be so beneficial to your business. The one is your like you were talking about your warranties, right?
Hmm.
You're tracking your warranties in real
Yep.
time. You're tracking your depreciation in real time, and you're tracking your replacement asset value in real time based on the cost associated with your work orders and your man hours.
Yes.
So those three things alone have so much cost avoidance associated with them.
Right. And Upkeep does it.
And Upkeep does all three of them
Yep.
at the same time. And as long as, and I'm sure you've done this, it sounds like you have, as sure as assuming you put all of that asset data in there initially and correctly, it will do that for you.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
awesome. I love hearing it. I love hearing it. What else? So with the fleet side, we got telematics, which is awesome, and they're pushing into upkeep. Are
Hmm.
they meter? Is it pushing into the meter, or is it popping a work order based on a prescribed
Meter.
like?
Right now it's meter.
Okay,
Well, probably both. It's meters for the oil changes, but then we've also working with you guys, and you guys have started doing the diagnostic code. So if it throws because as you know, they're plugging ODB2 ports in the vehicles. So
hmm,
if it throws a diagnostic code, it's throwing out a work order saying, "Hey, this popped up."
cool,
So it's doing both.
right,
Meters for the oil changes was the only way to do it, but then the diagnostic code throws another work order.
right. How are
Um,
you? How are you? Are any of these vehicles DOT compliant? Do they have to be DOT compliant?
If you're talking for trucking, no. Um,
What about for weight or like certain amount of passengers?
yeah, yeah, our buses, yeah, and well, and we purposely buy vehicles where we don't need a CDL.
Of
We
course.
just
Oh
need the
yeah.
chauffeurs, being enough for profit. So we're
Yeah.
under the gross vehicle weight of 26,000 pounds,
Yep.
and under 16 passengers.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay, cool. Yeah, so
so
it's funny when I run a field service business and I bought a big F5 or F650 service truck that could be gross vehicle at 32,000, but I don't have a CDL. So I purposely did 25,999.
yeah, 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 yeah. So and we did that, and it also helps with our insurance company as well as a not-for-profit. I mean, we're looking at everything. But yeah, we don't want to expend well when you can't afford it to get into the DOT
Yeah, right, right. But
regulation.
at the end of the day, any cost avoidance or any, I don't like to say savings very often, but like any savings or anything where you're reducing risk and waste, there's that much more that can go into providing the appropriate service for your customer.
Correct.
And with nonprofits, that's so big. And like I say, we have a lot of nonprofits. We have Goodwill, we have Salvation Army, like we have
Mhm.
like big ones, and they say the same thing. It's like, yeah, they're big companies, but there's a lot of resources, and you've got to be able to manage those things effectively because no one's just like you're not generating all this revenue. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Uh,
Yeah. No, yeah, we're 99% Medicaid funds, so the federal government sets our rates. So
right,
any money we can save, we will put back into our resources, which is our staff. The more staff we have, the more people we can serve and support.
right. And how many? So you said 20 something homes, and so how many people are you servicing?
If you're talking,
Like just in general, like between the facilities, the transport, all that stuff.
well, you throw everybody in, we're probably doing 300
Okay. So
schedules somewhere around in there.
and where are you
Um,
guys out of? Where's your
we're at
location?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, cool. Okay. Awesome.
So
That's good stuff, man.
yeah, so no, it's yeah, it's good working part. Like I said, UpKeep's been a great partner.
Yeah.
Um,
We love it.
I'm still learning the system. To me, I'm still a rookie in it.
Are you
I've used it for a few years. Like, yeah, I'm still a rookie.
well that's a good segue into this last question is like how many people are using it and what type like what's the structure under you?
So underneath me with my department, I've got a transportation supervisor, manager. Um, they're using it for vehicle maintenance tracking.
Yep.
And then I've got two maintenance guys for 20 some properties.
Oh wow,
And
cool.
they're using it. And they're the ones that are doing the work. So those guys doing the work. They're getting the work orders, they're looking at it and doing the work. And updating the work orders and putting all the whatever work they're doing.
Right.
Then staff wise, we've got, I want to say 260 some staff that are putting in the work orders.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and then yeah,
They're putting in requests, right?
yeah, sorry, they put in the
Yeah.
request.
Okay.
Well, everything we do, everything we have to do, 'cause we're unique is for supplies. We all had to be limited technicians, so they all have everything has to be a work order. And then
Okay.
they go back at it in the parts, and then we can put the parts out, which is our supply. Say, I need two dozen gloves, whatever.
Sure.
That's how we do it. So yeah, so they're putting in. It's actually not a request. They put in a work order.
Oh wow. That's I mean that's
So
even better,
because
right?
their request function wouldn't work right for
Gotcha.
us. So
Gotcha.
everything is through a work order.
Right.
That's why we've got there are three categories are um, non-emergency, emergency, and the supply request.
Gotcha.
So staff put in their supply request. If they need supplies, that's how I track our supplies. So that's the uniqueness, and that's where you guys work with us to come up with
Right.
the solution.
Do you have like a central storeroom
Yeah,
or
yep.
oh,
We've got
okay.
essential stores that will do, for it may be gloves, masks, staff equipment they need to support the person served, and it could be household supplies, napkins, plates, whatever.
Right.
Or the break rooms here, our day have program, or office supplies here.
Right. And the technicians, are they leveraging the inventory through their phones or tablets and then deducting things in your inventory when they go and pull things and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, the
Awesome.
technicians, yes, our two maintenance guys are. Anytime like doing filters, whatever, foam filters, yes.
Right.
Um, my one fleet manager, transportation manager, he's in charge of supplies. So anytime the supply request ends, yeah, it's definitely being tracked through the inventory.
Right. Are you for your fleet management as far as, services, tires, filter changes, inspections, are you guys outsourcing that? Do you have like a contract with a local shop or something?
Yeah, we use a shop, and actually most of our vehicles are leased through Ruan companies.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get with you guys. They use a company called Fleetio.
I've heard of
So
it.
all their shops put all their work orders in there and
Hmm.
with costs. So they track it that way. I'm trying to get hopefully Fleetio and Upkeep to work together and where they would import their information all over into you guys. So I have one-stop shop for every work order,
Sure.
and all that.
Well, what you could do is we have share work order functions. So I'm sure you have scheduled work orders that pop when you need to do things on certain vehicles, and then you have condition based via meter reading for others. You can share those work orders with the people who do the work on your machines. So they're filling out the work order in your system.
Okay, that I have not done.
Yeah. Candace, if you're listening, you got a lot of work ahead of you. Jim's going to be coming to you with all kinds of new stuff. And if I misspoke, just pull me to the side.
That'll be okay. Candace is used to me.
Yeah. But no, but that would be cool because then you're having those partners that you work within the confines of upkeep, so all the data is staying relative and in the same place.
So, because right now they've got to do it all through, because Ruan, like I said, our leasing company, they use Fluidio,
Right.
um, and they're nationwide. So it's trying to get them to talk, where if they do it once, instead of having to do it twice, they put it in Fluidio. If it just import over into Upkeep with the work order that's already generated by us.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm not I can't speak to that. I
Yeah,
don't.
it'll be interesting to see if they're interested to do. I know you guys are. It's a matter of if the other company would be willing to
Yeah.
do it.
I've heard of Fleet. There's a ton of fleets. Like
Yeah.
we were at Waste Expo
Hmm.
a few months ago, and I talked to hundreds and hundreds of people there, and I could tell you that I probably learned 100 new fleet management softwares that I'd never
Yeah.
heard of.
There's a ton out there. Yeah. And they all do pretty much the same thing.
That's right.
I just like to get it all into one, and my one is Upkeep.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, I had the opportunity to use all different types, but the core of my fleet was Caterpillar, and I worked for Caterpillar as a mechanic
Hmm.
for a number of years, and I wanted Cat Vision Link, so I managed all the maintenance. All the maintenance was managed in Upkeep, but all of my fleet and condition monitoring was done in Vision Link.
Hmm.
So I didn't have to like do all this stuff, right? I had these two things, and that's how I managed it.
Yep.
And it proved to be very, very beneficial. And again, I'm saying this for the third time, but it's so good that you're using telematics to drive your service intervals. It's the most cost-effective way,
Yeah. It
without a
helps.
doubt. Yes. Um, Jim, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. I'm glad to hear that you're doing a bunch of good things. I'm glad to hear that you're putting Upkeep through its paces. I'm also glad to hear that we were able to talk about things you weren't so familiar with, so you can go beat on us and make us help you
Hmm.
um, with those things. But I'm going to give you the last word, Jim. How can people get a hold of you if they'd like to talk fleet facilities or anything like that?
If they want to get a hold of me, my email is jwilkie, WILKIE, @linkassociates.org. Or my office phone is 515-262-8888. I'm extension 203.
Right on. Awesome. Jim, on behalf of Upkeep, I want to thank you for not only coming on the Pledge Pros podcast, but for being a valued partner and customer of ours. And we look forward to serving you and providing as much value as we can for you in the future and beyond. So we will see you on the next one.
Thank you very much.
See you, man.
Bye.